Welcome back to another OMLab tutorial. Today we're going to be taking a look at a very old school pro trick, if you will. Let's just say you're producing some music and you find a drum loop. It's great. It's going to fit your project, but it's got no guts. It needs some sub bass presence. Now, you can go about adding your sub bass manually, and it's a pretty meticulous and monotonous process. But in the interest of keeping things moving and keeping the creative process going, I'm going to show you a little trick that you can use. All you need to do is set up, number one, your loop or drum sample, if you will, a synth, or in this case, a test oscillator, because it's going to use a lot less CPU. It's less effort put forth. It's a nice trick to know about, and it's fun to learn. And an open mind. I guess that's it. Because at first you're just going to think, well, this can be a little cheesy, but it's actually pretty good. So let's start with a loop, okay? We'll just grab a beat from the library here. Let's stick with audio. Okay, we have a winner. That's simple because there really wasn't much low end in that kick. So sure, we'll bump our beat up to 120, 130. And let's see what this sounds like. All right, so, it's a pretty typical beat. The very first thing we're going to do is send this out to a bus, okay? And reason being is because we want both the signal and the original audio. Now, we're not going to double up on the audio. So the very first thing we're going to do with this new auxiliary track is change from stereo out to no output. We really don't need to hear this. This is just going to be used as a trigger, which means that we're going to be sending this through a sidechain. First things first, though. Let's set this up as a let's set this up pre-fader. So it doesn't matter if we're changing the volume here at all. It's always just going to route directly to the auxiliary channel at the same rate. And we'll go ahead and we'll send that at full. Okay. Now we've set up the no output over here. We're also going to use an EQ. We'll come back to that. So we have these two set up. Now on a software track, what we're going to do is in the instrument slot, we're going to open up a test oscillator and make it mono. Okay. Yowza, that's annoying, right? Okay, so that's the reason why we choose it, though. Okay, it's a constant generated tone. We don't even have to hold down a key on a keyboard or anything, so hang tight. We know that sub bass is between, let's say 60 hertz, traditionally speaking, and 20 hertz. Obviously, it goes below 20 hertz. Average human can't hear it, so there's really no need to talk about it. You don't really get a whole lot of tonal quality around this area, so we're going to focus our energy in this little range right here, 30-something to 40-something. That's pretty typical. And we are going to, as an effect here, as an insert effect, we're going to add a noise gate. Okay, now the noise gate is going to control the action of our sub bass. Okay. We're going to set up the sidechain as bus 1. Okay, so now it's receiving the signal. You can see the little activity light comes on here. Let's go ahead and turn this down. Oops. Right, my bad. Okay, so now you can see that the original audio is being sent to the auxiliary track right here. And you can see that the signal is active, so it's receiving. And it's just fine. Let's go ahead and give this some audio again. And we're going to take a look at the EQ. All we want is the low end. We're really literally just going to roll all this off because obviously we can't use this method to put sub bass under just the kick drum if we're listening to a whole loop, right? I mean, how do you separate the stuff? So what we're going to do is make a very sharp cut here, and we're going to find that kick drum signal in the place that makes the most sense here. All right, so we've now been able to dial this in pretty good. Okay, so we're obviously peaking quite heavily over here. All we want is a pretty decent gain in decibel level there. All right, so we've got something that we can actively see down here, and it's going to be very easy to dial this in now. So with the noise gate rather, let's just send this back to no output, so we no longer hear, right? We don't hear any of that sub bass that we were just hearing. So now what we need to do is turn back on our test oscillator and just dial. We'll set this at 40 for now, and we're just gonna listen to it. You can hear it's a steady drone. So we're going to bring our threshold up here. It's just a matter of dialing this in now. The action. Here, I'll turn this up so you can hear exactly what this is, in case you're not listening through headphones or something. Okay, the look ahead is something you want up because you want to get the most accurate reading as possible. And if your DAW knows what's coming next, it's going to be a very accurate reading. Okay, that's it. That's it. Now we just dial this down to a sub bass level again, and we're going to bring up our original audio. All right, let's go ahead and mute our sub bass. Bring it back in. Without it. With it. This is a very simple trick. You can use this on gosh, all sorts of things. And the EQ trick is just showing you how easy it is to dial out all the other elements in a track that's already got a bunch of stuff going on. If this was simply laying a kick drum sample out in an arrangement and adding sub bass to it, it's very simple to add the sub bass to it, right? You just match up right at the beat, or you can even use this noise gate and oscillator trick. It's very simple. There's nothing else to work around. It takes just a couple seconds to set up. But this is as close as you can get, I think, to the same solution with very, very little effort and time being put forth, because how easy is it? You're just dragging out, rolling off all of the other elements, taking off any of the extraneous sub bass that might get in the way as far as, like a little ghost note action or reverberation here. So it's nice and clean and quick when the sub bass hits, and that's it. So that's how you figure out how to reinforce a kick drum with some decent sub bass, a pure sine wave, so it's nice and clean in the mix. It's mono. Only takes a couple seconds to set up, really, once you get the groove. Once you've done this a few times, it's simple. Set it up in about a 1 minute maximum. That's it. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back soon. See you then.